Good morning, everyone. This is Dan O'Sullivan with your Bucks Island Area Fishing Report for Saturday, February the 28th. Hey, there's tournaments going on all over our land, and we're going to check in with the guys and find out what's going on. We got our usual crowd. We got Tom, Lee, Gentry, and Tracy checking in. We'll be right back with what these guys got to say. Hey, we are joined by Lee Pitts, going to talk a little bit of Weiss Lake and Neely Henry fishing. Lee, let's start at Neely Henry. We kind of tend to shortchange our home lake here just a little bit every once in a while. We get so wrapped up in talking about everything else. What's going on at Neely?
Neely's looking pretty good right now. We've had a little bit of rain come in a little later in the week, so it's got a little bit of stain, but that's got some of that current moving too. So water temperatures coming up. I'm hoping this is the last of some of that just brutal cold that we've had. The fish are wanting to move. They're trying to get up there shallow. On the bass end of it, it's still the flat-sided crankbait, pitching a little bit of plastics around some of these docks. The key to it is getting some sunshine on it. If you can get some sun, a little bit of wind, not a whole lot of wind, these fish are getting up there tight. I know some guys have been catching some, throwing a spinnerbait a little bit right now, just kind of covering some water. But still, the main thing, finding the little spots in the current that pop out there with some of your harder bottoms. It's looking like the fish are starting to kind of stack up on some of the mouths of these little pockets. They're wanting to get back there in it. Like I said, water temperature's bumping up a little bit, so they're about to start their move. So that's what I'm looking for. Some of your holding secondary little points before they start getting back in there in that super shallow stuff.
Yeah, and I've heard of a few bladed jig bites going on. That water temps in that mid 50s, kind of maybe starting to peak back up again a little bit. But the crappie are also starting to go. They're catching a bunch of crappie on here around shallow cover. All right, Weiss Lake, what's going on up there? I know you spend a bit of time up there.
Yeah, we've had our crappie are. I'll start with the crappie on it. Our crappie are kind of moving on us a little bit. Some of the deeper places that I've been catching them pretty good on, just a vertical drop, getting out there in that deep water around the bait. That they're starting to move from it and make that kind of migratory move back to the coves. The mouths of the pockets are starting to hold some fish in it. Coming up off the bottom a little bit, suspending. So long line trolling's been pretty good. I know where you can find, and when I say some depth around docks, I'm not talking about 14, 15 foot. That 5, 6 foot range, 4 foot range, if you've got some sunshine on it. These crappie are getting around those poles really, really well right now. So if you can get around some brush cover, in the bays where they're going to spawn, catching some fish. The main wave really hadn't turned on yet. I think once this weather stabilizes with us a little bit, these fish you're really going to start to see them on your electronics pop up and really, really start schooling up where everybody, that's the time we're all out there trying to. Back with you now.
Okay, well, Lee, brother, we appreciate everything, and we will talk to you again next week. Hey, we are fresh off Gentry competing in the Alabama Bass Trail at Jordan Lake, so we're going to start there. Gentry, how'd the tournament go? Where'd you end up? What ended up winning it?
The tournament went, fairly well. Caught some fish practice days and during the tournament. Had just under 15 pounds. Put us somewhere around 60th place. But man, the weight that lake pumps out, you always know it's going to be a couple big bags. But dude, 19. I think you had to have a high 19 just to get in the top 10. It's insane, how small that lake is, but the weight it pumps out. I'm pretty confident that 90% of those big bags come up the river, whether it was scoping or big jig and stuff like that. But we heard them talking about it, when they were weighing in, scoping and scoping. But man, there was a lot of fish down the lake too, and a lot of good ones. Just never got those, those real big bites. But man, I bet both days, even during practice, because I went around and fished places that I never fished just to try to get an idea of what the fish were doing, and just 2.5, 3 pounders, pretty steady. I mean, it was a blast, and it was square bills and jigs and Senkos, and chatterbaits. I mean, we had a ball fishing. You could just about do anything. Caught some swimming a crawdad through the grass. But like I said, the big bite eluded us. But man, Jordan it's firing right now. A lot of our better fish though did come about from the mouth of the pockets, about halfway in. Caught some fish in the back, but our smaller ones. But man, if you want to have fun, just go catch fish. You just about go anywhere up there and throw what you want to.
Yeah, now Lake Martin's kind of kicking out some fish too. Of course, they're a little bit smaller with those Tallapoosa spotted bass. But what's working there?
Yeah, dude, Dano, really, this right now with this little bit of warmer trend we got this weekend, man, I would look for cruisers. Being clear as it is, put your sunglasses on, go down the bank with a wacky rig, even I don't know, like a subtle top water. If you see them, but they are hitting top water. I don't know if they'll run down a buzz bait just yet, but I've got a silent walking bait that I use up there a lot, and just slow it down a little bit and get some good top water bites. But man, I would if I was going to Martin this weekend, I'd get up shallow, start looking at the back of some of them bigger pockets because those fish will start to pull up. Some trash piles on the way back, in front of dock, 5 or 6 foot of water. Definitely take a look there.
What about the crappie briefly? Are we starting to see them move up yet? Are they still out there on those brush piles? What are we seeing?
Both right now. I've seen them up there with a live scope just looking. But I think, like I said, as we continue to warm up, some of those big ones will start to push back in some of those shallower trash piles.
Brother, we appreciate everything as always, and we'll talk to you again next week. Hey, we are joined by Tracy Robinson, who is actually practicing for an Alabama Bass Trail event on Lake Guntersville, but he's also been playing around at Logan Martin and Lay Lake. Tracy, let's start at Lay Lake this week. What's going on down there?
Yeah, Lay Lake. Both lakes are fishing really good. Lay especially. Lay really hadn't had much of a dull time this winter, but a lot of big bags still being caught. This week we had a couple of windy days, and there were some really good bags caught on the jerk bait out there. Those fish kind of piled up on some of the points there, mid lake to lower lake area of the lake. But the jerk bait seemed to be the best deal, kind of mid lake when some of those fronts came through. Um, Later, Friday's 70 plus degrees, those fish are kind of starting to head towards the bank too. Still a little bit of bite in the grass. With your, you swim jig a little bit. Some of the thicker clumps, you can drop a heavy weight into them. So there's still some fish around the grass, in the grass now. But those fish are starting to head that way to do their thing here in the next couple of probably 2 to 3 weeks. So start transitioning from those offshore fish more to the shallow fish will be the key over the next few days, weeks.
What about crappie down there? You hearing anything out of that?
Not a lot, Dano. More so at Logan than I am Lay. The crappie I know are still in some of the treetops that I talk about, the standing timber, because when I get around them with a scope, I'm seeing those fish. I'm not really seeing a lot of people targeting them, but if I had a crappie pole in the boat, I'm pretty sure I could drop a minnow or a jig down there and catch some of the ones I'm seeing in the timber.
All right, let's go to Logan Martin, and let's start with the crappie there. What are you seeing out of there?
Yeah, there's a lot of crappie fishermen, especially in the creeks. I see a lot in the Pell City Park area, kind of in the ditches and creeks. I'm seeing a lot in the Broken Arrow and to Blue Eye area, the mouths of the pockets, the mouths of the creeks. Seems to be where they're targeting most of those at. Everybody I'm seeing is jigging. I'm not seeing anybody out there dropping minnows, but they're catching them on the jigs pretty good in the creeks.
All right, go to the bass bite. I know red clay, rock. Has the current changed anything with the rain? Has anything been changed with the weather?
They've been running a lot more current the past few days. I don't know if it's because of the rain or the weather or what, but the current has changed some of the fishing just a little bit, and it's made it better. It's grouping up some of those fish, and I mentioned it last week, but a couple of my buddies caught some really big bags on an Alabama rig, throwing it basically in eddies and points where the current's hitting up, knocking up against something hard spot, but they're definitely stacking up. Not real deep though. I know A-rig you're using. I'm rocking here, sorry. A-rig, you're usually thinking a little bit deeper, but some of these A-rig fish, they're catching in 3 to 5 feet of water. But anyway,
Oh, wow.
a lot of fun when you get on that bite.
Absolutely. Well, Tracy, brother, as always, we appreciate it. Have a great tournament, and we will talk to you again next week, my friend. Hey, it's the same day that Alabama Bass Trail is going to be hosting their first Northern Division event of the season. Tom, you're our resident expert on the Big Lake. What's going to be going on Guntersville?
but there's going to be a lot of shaking and moving and a lot of hook sets. I'll just tell you that, Dano. I mean, golly, I don't know that I've seen the lake in this kind of shape in a long time. Maybe I have. My memory's gotten worse over the years, but my goodness, we've got a full moon coming up early next week, and I think there's just a huge wave coming. I think we'll probably see that again with a later into April as well. You generally do, but the fish have really just started to make that push. So if you found them on the ledge yesterday, you probably won't find them today there. But they're just coming and going and coming and going. So I really think you can do just about whatever you want to do. Best baits have still been, for numbers, probably a jerk bait. Few on an A rig, but a jerk bait's been just killing the numbers. And also, a rattle trap, a jig, a swim jig, a rattling jig, or vibrating jig. Those things have just been taking the fish by storm here lately. It's like they never ate, and they're just eating like crazy. So there's a whole lot of 2 to 4 pound fish. It's going to take somebody special to really catch those big 5, 6, 7 pound fish, but you only need one or so. If you've got a limit laid out with 4.5s, you're going to be fine. But that's really what it's taking is to, I think everybody's catching 20 pounds, but you're going to have that 25, 26, 27 pound kind of stringer. Still a lot of fish that are coming in and out of the causeways around the bridges too. So, those are going to be big players. The Browns Creek Bridge, South Saudi, North Saudi, all of those areas are going to be playing real big this weekend, especially for those ABT guys. I'm sure there'll be a lot of scoping going on. So it could get crazy. You never can tell with Guntersville.
Yeah, and I was going to say the one bait we haven't talked about is the one that's dominating everything that you can't get anymore is the koike. We might have a few kind of off colors up there, but that urchin bait is one that just I don't know what it is about it. There must be awful lot of prickly pear, weed balls that get floated down that. But I bet you that's going to play up there too.
I guarantee. I bet you could probably catch crappie and brim on that thing. To be honest with you, I really do. But it's really hot. It's the greatest time to get out there on Guntersville. I can't believe I've got to sit here right now, but it's the best time to be out there. The next couple of months, it's just going to be Katie bar the door, guys. Really.
Well, brother, we'll get back to you next week, and we'll throw some crappie in there. We missed them this week, but that's how it goes. Thank you. Appreciate everything. Well, that wraps up our Bucks Island area fishing report for Saturday, February the 28th. Hey, folks, a little bit of news. Monday, we are turning to our full schedule, or Monday through Friday, 8 to 5, and Saturday, 8 to noon. So come on down, check out the boats, the tackle, the parts, and if you need service, we are here. You are the most important part of Bucks Island. We appreciate everything that you do. Thank you for showing up for Fish Fest like you did. It was a great day. We look forward to it again every year. Next year, we'll see if we can top this year. Thanks for spending the time with us, and we'll talk to you again next week.